I'm Jack Adams, and welcome to People in Perspective. Joining me today is Steve Ramone from the Steve Ramone Band. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
So, I hear that you're a musician. What bands do you play in?
As it stands right now, the band that I play most often with and tour with is called the Steve Ramone Band. We just got signed to Pavement Entertainment Records. We got a 2-record deal, and we're putting out our first record at the end of January, and so we'll go on tour to support that record with a band called Rose Tattoo. They're out of Australia. So that's my main project. I also play guitar in a band called Enough's Enough. They were really, really big in the late 80s, early 90s. Lots of hits on MTV. Grammy-nominated band, great songwriters, great singers and stuff. Your Uncle Chip, he plays bass in that band, and that's the other band that I spend the most of my time with. There's a lot of other side stuff that we do. We have a national touring David Bowie tribute band that we play with, and we bring in certain musicians in and out of that band just to play and have fun with. But that takes up the majority of my time.
Huh. So would you say that it's hard balancing those 3 bands, because that seems like a lot of effort?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it has to do with your particular position in the band. So the Steve Ramone Band, I'm Steve Ramone, obviously, so everything rests on my shoulders. So yeah, it's almost like having a whole other family. Sometimes we relate it to being married to 5 different people, because there's so many personalities. Well, first of all, we're all artists, right? So we're not all there to begin with, So you take those 5 guys and you put them on a bus and you travel across the country. And yeah, it can get difficult. So that's the biggest thing. With Enough's Enough, I'm the guitar player, so I don't have to worry about where the bus is taking us from one night to the next. I show up, my guitar is up there on stage, and I go play, and I'm done. So yeah, it can get difficult. It can get crazy out there.
So you mentioned you play the guitar. So do you think is that the only instrument you play, or do you sing, or
So with Enough's Enough, I play guitar. With the Steve Ramone Band, I sing all the songs, I play guitar, I write all the songs. So yeah, I play guitar, I play bass, a little bit of drums, a little bit of piano. The only thing I'm really not good at is the woodwind stuff or anything you gotta blow on. But other than that, I can pretty much pick up any string instrument and play it.
That takes a lot of work. That's a lot of talent.
It's a lot of, you know what? Everybody talks about talent, but I prefer the first word, the work part. I honestly, I would spend hours and hours and hours every single day when I was probably your age or maybe even a little bit younger, noodling on the guitar, just sitting there in front of the TV. My mom and dad and sister, we were like, "Will you shut up? Go play somewhere else." But literally, I always had a guitar in my hand. So if you put in those 10,000 hours, I think that the standard number is 5,000 to 10,000 hours, and you're going to be good. I don't care how much talent you have. You practice 10,000 hours at something, you're going to get pretty good.
So how old would you say you were when you first started to pick up the guitar and play?
I remember it vividly. Well, for me, music started for me when I was about 4 or 5 years old. Elvis Presley, Aloha from Hawaii. I saw that live. It was a big deal back then. Simulcast was brand new, and you saw Elvis doing his thing in Hawaii on stage, and that was it for me. I knew exactly what I wanted to do the rest of my life. It was music. And then from there, it's just a matter of hounding your parents for a guitar or a drum set or whatever. And then and then putting in the work. I keep coming back to this, but really, I know so many people that do have talent, so many people that do want to play, but they don't play. If you want to play, you got to play. And so if you practice, put in the time, you're going to get good at something, just like you guys are doing here. Yeah,
wow, that's very insightful. So other than Elvis, like you said, do you have any other musical idols or inspirations?
Yeah, so for me, it all began and will probably end with Elvis, but I'm also a huge Beatles fan. I absolutely love the Beatles. Elvis Costello, probably a little bit before your time, was another guy that was really influential. There was a band called Squeeze. And with all those different bands, the Sex Pistols, from a punk standpoint, was really big in my upbringing. And so, I kind of took all those things. I'm Hispanic, so it's all the music I grew up with, growing up in Puerto Rico and stuff. I take that with me, and then the hard rock stuff, the Elvis stuff, all that stuff. It's just it's things that you hear along the way, and they make impressions musically on you. And then so you start to dig into that person. You're like, oh, this wasn't an accident. This guy actually knows how to sing. This guy knows what he's doing. Aretha Franklin is another one for me. Fabulous singer, one of my favorites ever. But my God, listen to her play piano sometime. She was wonderful, you know. So it's all about just digging yourself into the music and becoming part of it, making it part of you, and the rest shines. You know, you get to a point where you get enough of that in you, and then all you really got to do is walk up on stage and turn it on, and it's there for people to see. That makes it really easy for everybody to say, oh, that looks simple, I can do that. No, no, there was a lot of work that went in beforehand.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people's like mentalities, that they can just pick it up and do it and there's no work, but obviously there is. Like you said, you're from an ethnic background. Has there been any like cultural challenges with getting into the music industry when you're like from some like minority or ethnic background?
Absolutely not. And I you know, the cultural challenge thing, I think, is something that you can either use it to inspire yourself, or you can use it as a crutch, and you can be a victim the rest of your life. I was the first Hispanic family to move into our hometown in Blue Island. I always tell this story. And you know, within a week, there were for sale signs going up in the area. We're the first Hispanic family that moved in there. And my mom and dad could have said, oh, this is terrible, whatever. No, and they just said, hey, look at this, you know, remember this, you know, use it to inspire yourself, use it to become a better person, use it to not be that type of person, use it to be something more. But don't use it to get angry, don't use it as a crutch, you know. So the same thing travels into the music business. And what I will say is that the music business is so damn hard to begin with. Aside, if you don't have the talent, if you don't have the vibe, if you don't have, even if you're a great player, I mean, if you're just not an entertaining type of person, chances are you're going to end up relegated to the folks that are in the background, you know, singing the harmonies on, you know, in the studio and stuff like that. So you got to have all that stuff. You just got to, and then you've got to have that kind of attitude where you're like, nothing's going to stop me from doing this. I mean, everybody always asks me, you know, what do I got to do to be a good musician, to be a successful musician? Learn to get in bed with failure every single day. Walk up to the prettiest girl in school every single day and ask her out so she can tell you to go screw yourself. Now you're starting to get it, you know, and then come back the next day and do it again. And that's what being in the music business is like, just refusing to say no.
That was very inspiring.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here, Steve.
My pleasure.
I'm Jack Adams, and this has been People in Perspective. Thank you.